Hey everyone, it's Ryan here. I'm just going to do this video for my reaction to NXT Takeover in Your House, which took place last night. I think it started at midnight for us in the UK. I had the benefit this time of, I've recently, a few weeks ago, like a page I've been following for a while, the Cultaholic fan group on Facebook. Someone decided we should do like a group Zoom call together, like on Sundays. And this was our first one of watching a pay-per-view together. There was, I think, 5 of us. Well, I think there was 4, and then one joined in towards the end. I think we're all from the UK, so we had the benefit of like being up at the same time. There was 6 matches, lasted about 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is a good run time. Hopefully, WWE sort of take note that with their NXT shows, it's better to have quality of matches over quantity, because normally their main pay-per-views last about 3.5 hours to 4 hours with about 12 matches, and sometimes it's just not necessary. Especially when some matches, like in Money in the Bank, for instance, were just thrown. Like Money in the Bank was still short, like it was still 2.5 hours, but 2 matches were literally just thrown in there last minute and had like no real purpose to be on there. We'd rather have just like 5 or 6 matches, maybe go 20 minutes each, that are actually really good. So they could definitely learn from that. I would say it was a very solid pay-per-view. I think since the whole lockdown and the whole virus and everything, the cinematic match they had was probably the least interesting of the other ones, which I'll get to in a bit. We'll start off. First match was Mia Yim, Shotzi Blackheart, and Tegan Nox versus Candice LeRae to get Guy and Raquel Gonzalez. The reason I keep looking off the side is because I've got my laptop here with the details on it. So that match, I thought the bad guys were going to win because I thought it'd play into what happens later on. But I think with it being the first match and a multi-tag match, the cliche is normally you get the good guys to win for, the feel-good moment going into the rest of the show. It was a very solid match. Everyone did their parts well. I don't think there's really any botches. Maybe like a couple of miscommunications, but it wasn't majorly bad. Like not too noticeable. I think there was maybe a theme in the night, like maybe it's just me being a bit picky with some things, but like when people try to do like the sunset flip move and go to the pin, the person that's meant to be pinned starts stepping back a couple of steps just so they actually get caught by the person before they're pulled down. I noticed it in this match. I think Keith Lee and Gargano do it a couple of times. But yeah, I'd say it's a very solid match. The faces win. Mia Yim and Candice LeRae brought to the back before the match ends, so I thought that would sort of play into the finish. Turns out it didn't. But the faces end up winning. I think Tegan Nox gets the pin on Dakota Kai, if I remember correctly. Might have been Gonzalez. Yeah, very solid match to start with. Next match, Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. This one, I think, had the least interest for people because the build was on and off. So they started with, like, the start of the build is Finn Balor's been found like unconscious or attacked, and they're trying to figure out who did it. Finn finds out it's Damian Priest, and then they're just doing back and forth promos every week. If I remember correctly, there's not been too much interaction between them, whereas with everyone else there's been some form of interaction at least. These have just been a bunch of promos instead. It's a very solid match. Priest Irish whips Finn Balor into the steps and then takes one of the steps off, and he, like, for some reason, I think he's like gonna do his, well, we call it the Razor's Edge / Celtic Cross. It's like when they hold them above like that and slam them down. Like the amount of times they would like tease hitting them on the stairs wouldn't happen. Eventually it does come into play. Priest is on the ropes. Finn Balor hits him and he falls back onto it. The bump that he takes, we watched it on the replay and just everyone's reaction was just ugh, because like normally when they do stuff like a back bump on steel steps, they land directly on the steel steps. Priest hits like his lower back on it and he slides off the back, and it was almost similar to sort of what injured Samoa Joe, which is why he isn't as quick anymore. Like I remember in TNA he went to do like a move on Sting on the set of steps and he just caught his lower back on the set of steps and it kind of messed him up a bit. So I'm hoping it's not messed Priest up. It ends up with Priest gets in the ring. As he's getting up, Finn hits him with a coup de grace on the back of the head and then hits him with another coup de grace for the win, so Finn ends up winning. Like I said, another really solid match. Like the shortest match is later on. That one was 13 minutes. It didn't feel too long. It was quite nice. The longest match was next, but it wasn't too long, but it was like the perfect amount to make it a really good match. It's Keith Lee versus Johnny Gargano. The way they do the promo is great. Like the build up to it. Like the last bit of Gargano, he sat around a table, blows out a candle, and then the filter changes, and it's the actual like live time. So like he's blew out a candle. He gets up, he sets the thermometer. I swear he puts it to 69 degrees, and he puts a thumbs up to a portrait of I can't remember who it was on there, but yeah, he like gives a thumbs up, gets his key, like unlocks the door, and he like, because the whole time we're sat there, because the stage is literally the whole like the retro in your house stage, and we're thinking, well, when's the door going to be used? Turns out Gargano comes through the door, and he literally locks it, takes the key, and blatantly puts it in his trunks. And you'd think the ref would probably check that out, because that's what they do at the beginning of the match. Like they would, like they check them to see they've not got anything. Like I don't know why that wasn't questioned at all. I guess maybe because it was like literally down there, so he's not really going to touch him around there. Like if you put it at the side, then they would guess. Yeah, and then Keith Lee comes out. The second he gets in the ring, I think he just attacks Gargano straight away, if I remember correctly. Balor attacked pretty straight away in his match. He literally just went straight for a dropkick. Yeah, this one's a really solid match. There's brilliant moments in there. A lot of comedy spots, but like good comedy spots. The theme for Gargano is he's attacking Keith Lee's eye, and he's attacking his hand that he injured a couple of weeks on NXT before. So he's got two places to go after. There's a bit where Gargano tries to escape, and he like goes to the house, and he's like knocking on the door. It's like, you just locked it. Like no one's gonna, like Candice isn't gonna be in there. He's like knocking on the door. They've got like the security camera that's next to Gargano, and just in the background you just see Keith Lee. And I'm thinking for a second Keith is going to charge at him and knock him through the door or something. But Keith just walks up to him, taps him on the shoulder, starts attacking him, takes him back to the ring. There's a moment where Gargano's took Keith Lee down, he's recovered, he goes back out the ring, goes to walk around the outside, and Keith Lee just pounces him through like the plexiglass they have, like to protect the NXT Performance Center people from the ring, I guess. But yeah, just completely smashes him through one of them. And that was brilliant. Yeah, again, very solid match, very back and forth. Candice LeRae comes out, but Mia Yim comes out immediately to prevent anything from happening whilst they're brawling, and the refs focused on them. Gargano takes the key out and he stabs Keith Lee in the eye with it. I'm thinking that's what the finish is going to be. Keith Lee ends up kicking out. Super kick, Keith Lee kicks out again. Another super kick, Keith Lee kicks out again. Another super kick, Keith Lee kicks out again. I've complained before about Gargano with like too many kickouts, but I think for me, when it comes to Gargano, it was the fact that he was kicking out of 4 finishes in one go, rather than if it's a small move, like whereas a super kick isn't Gargano's finisher. He has his submission hold, and he has like I think he has the float over DDT or something that he normally has. But yeah, I was like, because the one that bugged me with Gargano when I think people started to turn on him was Cole hit him with the Shining Wizard, O'Reilly and Fish hit him with their combo, Roderick Strong hit him with a move, and then Cole hit him with Panama Sunrise, literally all in one go, and Gargano still kicked out, and it's a bit too far-fetched for my liking, I think. Like if there was a gap between each, and then fair enough, like 5 minutes between each one, but it's literally all 4 finishers were hit in a minute, and Gargano still kicked out of it. It's a bit too much. Like imagine if after like a 20-minute match or something, Undertaker hit 3 tombstones in a row, like just hit one, pick him up, hit another one, pick him up, hit another one, then pins him, then the guy kicks out. You think it's a bit too much. Like that's the sort of feeling I had towards it. But because his super kick isn't like his top move, that's why I was fine with Keith Lee kicking out multiple times. Eventually Keith Lee gets the upper hand and hits his finishing move, and he wins. So Keith Lee ends up retaining. Like I thought the heel team were going to win at the beginning of the show, so then Keith Lee would get the feel good moment later on. Next match is Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream in the Backlot Brawl. Well, it's the last chance Backlot Brawl, because if Dream doesn't win, he doesn't get another NXT title shot whilst Cole is still champion. This one lasted 15 minutes. Well, 14 minutes, 55 seconds, but 15 minutes. Yeah, so this one, Cole comes out in a monster truck, which is pretty cool. There's no Undisputed Era around him. And then Velveteen Dream comes out, and we're thinking he's going to like some snazzy purple car, like maybe some sort of purple limo thing. he just comes out in a yellow Lamborghini. Like, you'd think he's Velveteen Dream, he'd have something, maybe a bit more velvety rather than sportsy. Velveteen Dream comes out, he's literally dressed like Negan from Walking Dead. He's got like the black trousers, the jacket, the top. I thought for half a second when I saw him, because of the way he styled his hair, I thought it was like R-Truth from 2002, because he had like the whole braids and like the weird braidy hair that he had before. I don't know what they call it. But he had that and like the jeans and everything. I literally thought he could pass off as R-Truth from 2002. Like back when he was K-Quick. But yeah, it's a very solid match. Like a lot of obviously using the cars. I think maybe 2 or 3 windshields got broke at one point. Cole gets in a car at one point, and Velveteen Dream picks up the bat and just starts smashing the car with Cole inside. Cole starts to escape, runs down the street. Like they have like a set of buildings around. I think it's like some movie set or something they're on. Ends up going in one of the buildings. Velveteen Dream's looking for him. As he opens the door, he gets sprayed with a fire extinguisher. There's a bit later on where at random someone drives up and they play it off like it's an Uber driver. Well, I think we jokingly said it's an Uber driver. But basically, someone just comes up randomly and drives up, and we're thinking, oh, this is Undisputed Era. No, it's just a random person, and then the referee tells them, oh, no, you don't want to be here, you want to go over there, and like sends them away for some reason. But later on, another car comes around, and it's Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish. There's no Kyle O'Reilly. Apparently, because with his diabetes and everything, he's not competing or anything due to his weaker immune system, doesn't want to catch anything. Yeah. One thing I noticed immediately when they got out of the car, the boot was open for some reason. Like, they just opened the boot. I thought maybe they had weapons in the back and they were going to go get them. Turns out they go to the truck that Adam Cole drove in, and he's got a ton of steel chairs in the back of there. So they just start filling the ring with them. And then as they go to grab one from outside the ring, it gets pulled under the ring. And Dexter Lumis pops out. And I think he had a drawing on the NXT before where he pictured him kidnapping the Undisputed Era in a car, and then it sort of pans out as to why the trunk was open, is so Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong can be thrown in it. Dexter Lumis closes it, and he drives off with them. So my guess is after Velveteen Dream, maybe Dexter Lumis is next in line, because he's just kidnapped the Undisputed Era. He can use it as ransom against Cole. I may have accidentally just spoiled the ending there, but oh well, because the next bit comes up anyway. Velveteen Dream hits his signature move. He goes onto the corner, but Cole counters it, and then at some point Cole hits Panama Sunrise onto all the steel chairs for the win. So Cole retains the title. Velveteen Dream doesn't get another shot whilst Cole is champion. To me, I think it's sort of the right call considering the controversy that Dream had a few weeks back. I think apparently it's been cleared since, but if, like, for example, if they went with it and it wasn't cleared or not, and it turns out it was all true, then what does that really say? You've just put your main title of your show on someone who's been essentially convicted of something. So I think that sort of maybe damaged Velveteen's potential push. But yeah, still see Cole as champion. Apparently the rumour was he might be going to AEW because Britt said it would be nice, like Britt Baker, he's with, said it'd be nice to be having a match with Adam Cole at some point in AEW. So they're like swaying that, but apparently he signed like a multi-year deal. Apparently when he signed like a few years, like he signed a 3-year deal like last year or something as well. So I think it was fine anyway. But obviously people changed their minds halfway through. But yeah, I'd say because it was I think the main downside to the match was a lot of things just getting cancelled out in a minute, and it was very dark as well, so you couldn't see half the stuff that was going on. I think that's why people didn't like it as much. Next match, Karrion Kross versus Tommaso Ciampa in a singles match. I think everyone knew that Kross was going to win this one. I'd say the only way Ciampa could have won was by disqualification or like reversal of decision. Lasts about 6 minutes. It's mostly Karrion Kross just dominating Ciampa. Ciampa gets a few moments in, but Kross eventually gets his sleeper hold on him, and Ciampa eventually passes out. Like I said, it literally lasted 6 minutes. It was a short and simple match. I think that's one way to build up Karrion Kross, is literally have him take out someone like Ciampa in that way, considering Ciampa's past couple of years. You get someone like Karrion Kross, literally takes him out in 6 minutes. It makes him very dangerous. I'd say Karrion Kross is next in line for the North American title. They keep building up, then Keith can basically want to have a match with him to basically just like, oh, these people that you've been facing are a bit smaller, but you haven't faced someone my size yet, so they could have that. And then the main event, it's Charlotte Flair defending the NXT Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai. Of course, Charlotte gets the main event because why not? Apparently, it was like the first time the women have main evented since, I think it was NXT Takeover Respect, which was Bayley and Sasha in their rematch. Because I think Brooklyn 2 was their Iron Woman match. Can't remember what NXT Takeover Respect was. That might have been before it, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm sure Brooklyn 2 was the Iron Woman match. Or that might have just been... I think Respect might have been the Iron Woman match. I think Brooklyn 2 is just the one that everyone thinks is amazing because that's the first time that like the women were mainly noticed, especially the Four Horsewomen, and it was like Bayley's coronation, I think. It's a very solid match. Everyone just sort of like going against each other. There's, like I said, with the miscommunication, there's a bit where Ripley and Shirai both go to chop Charlotte Flair, but I think Rhea hits her first, and Shirai sort of almost misses her and like hits her on the arm instead. Like I said, it's very back and forth. I think, if I remember the finish correctly, there's a bit where Rhea Ripley goes for like the turnbuckle riptide. Shirai breaks it up, I think, because we like one of the people we had, he was so unfortunate because every time the network would buffer and he'd refresh, it would be at the end of the match, and it happened like 3 times. So he knew who would win the match, and obviously it's really annoying when it happens. And I had the same thing, so when I refreshed it, the winner was already there. If I remember correctly, I think Charlotte goes for a figure 8 on Rhea, and then whilst that's happening, Io Shirai, I think, pins Rhea Ripley like during the submission, so she gets the 3 count that way. So obviously Charlotte still kept strong because technically she didn't lose. I think Charlotte will get a rematch. I think one thing that's already annoying me is so Charlotte's lost the title, but now she's immediately got a Raw Women's title shot tonight on Raw. And it's like, I guess she got the count out victory on Asuka, but literally I thought the whole point of her winning the NXT title was she would stay on NXT. But now she literally appears on all 3 shows, and it's like, if that's the case, why wasn't Rhea Ripley doing that? Why wasn't Shayna Baszler doing that? Like, what gives Charlotte the right to appear on all 3 shows? Because I know she's a Raw superstar, I think, if I remember correctly. I don't even know what brand she's on anymore. That's how bad it is. But I think they just let Charlotte just do whatever because she's Charlotte Flair. And it's going to definitely go down Roman 2015 style, like 2015 to 2016, 2017. Where they're just going to constantly force them down our throat to the point, like, we already hate them as they are because they're overbooked and that they're always in the title picture. I think Charlotte's just going to have the same thing. Unless she takes a few months off, I think people were just going to continually boo her, not be interested in what she does because they know that she's just going to be in the title picture. I said to the people in the group, I think she might end up being the Brock Lesnar of the women's division. Like, when it comes around to WrestleMania, she's always going to be in the title picture. Doesn't matter what title, she's going to be either the champion or going for one. Which I think is going to be really annoying. Like I said, I think if she takes a few months off, people appreciate her more. Like, I think people were getting a bit sour on Becky approaching WrestleMania because she wasn't taking Shayna Baszler too seriously. But now that she's gone, people will appreciate it more when she comes back. Yeah, like I said, it was a very solid show. Like, all the matches were very solid. There wasn't many mistakes in them. Like, even Balor and Priest, that had the least interest, was still a very solid match. Keith Lee and Gargano was probably match of the night because the storytelling in that and how long it lasted. It was a perfect length. And one thing as well, during the replays for the main event, like, it shows how Io Shirai won the title. Second it comes back, it's already raining confetti and people like throwing those like confetti rolls in, you know, like the string that goes with it. So they somehow managed to miss that moment, which was like, you know, great way to sell the main event. Like, well, not sell the main event, like sell the celebration essentially, is start it during the replay. You'd think they'd wait until they come back from the replay and then trigger the celebration. But yeah, like it was a very nice thing they did. Like, I do love the whole confetti thing. Like, I know TNA used to do it a couple of times. I remember, like, when Rob Van Dam won the title, they did the same thing. Like, I'd like to see that a bit more often. Like, not too often. Like, I know WrestleMania gets like the massive pyro and stuff, but I would like to see maybe some occasion where they are, where it just starts raining confetti because someone's finally won. Yeah, like I said, a very solid show. We already know what Charlotte's doing next. She's immediately going for the Raw Women's title. Despite the fact, this is the bit that makes it more annoying, come to think of it. She's getting a Raw Women's title shot, but Nia Jax is facing Asuka at Backlash. So, what's the point? Because if Charlotte wins, it's going to be Charlotte and Nia. So that whole build-up between Asuka and Nia goes out the window. And if Asuka wins, then Charlotte having the title shot means nothing. Like, if they somehow, which I really hope they don't, but they probably will, if they put Charlotte in a triple threat match, why? Like, what's Charlotte done to deserve it, apart from a count-out victory over Asuka? It's like, it's SummerSlam 2016 all over again, where she came back and she basically just inserted herself into the title picture. I knew she beat Carmella for it, but it was like Becky Lynch had to go through several people to then face Carmella to then get the shot at SummerSlam. Like, Charlotte returns out of nowhere, beats Carmella once, and now she's in it too. And it's like, that was like this, I think that was the start of people turning on Charlotte. And this will just, at that point, I think. But yeah, anyway, enough to rant about Charlotte. NXT Takeover in your house. Very solid show. All very solid matches. No match was like particularly weak or anything. Like I said, I think just compared to the other cinematic matches we had, Cole and Dream wasn't that good. Like, it was still good, but it just wasn't as good as the other ones. But we shall see what they do on NXT on Wednesday. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I shall hopefully see you in the next one. Right, bye.